sounds of Walt Disney's Mark Twain Riverboat are instantly recognizable. Before you even step aboard, the sound transports you. They hearken you to adventure, to exploration, to the river. The river and the riverboat were woven into the fabric of Disneyland even from the earliest concept art. But their roots run even deeper, to Walt's childhood in Marceline, Missouri, a small town only 90 miles west of Mark Twain's own hometown of Hannibal, Missouri. It was home to Walt for only a few years, but those years had a huge impact on his life. Though these influences can be seen most clearly in the buildings and styling of Main Street, USA, an idolized version of Walt Disney's boyhood is also embodied in the wild beauty of the rivers of America. Promise of adventure on the shores of Tom Sawyer's Island. This promise, this potential, was not lost on Walt. Like the parkgoers he sought to inspire, Walt found a wellspring of peace and creativity along the river. It could frequently be found there, either spending time alone or hosting friends and family and celebrities, guiding them on new adventures and showcasing the magical land he was so passionate about. It is perhaps unsurprising, then, that Walt chose the Mark Twain as a key venue to celebrate his 30th wedding anniversary with Lillian. On July 13th, mere days before the grand opening of Disneyland in 1955, a grand reception was held at the Golden Horseshoe. And of course, no Disney party would be complete without Walt showing off one of his new toys. Guests stepped aboard the majestic Mark Twain for a personal cruise around the river. The very same steps thousands of people take every day across the same boards Walt did over 60 years ago. Framed by the rustic wonderland of Frontierland and a seemingly untamed wilderness of Tom Sawyer's Island, the presence of the Mark Twain seems natural. You might even forgive for thinking the boat and the river have always been there, or that they just appeared one day, as if by magic, and in a way, they did. The 150-foot hull was built at Todd's Shipyards in Long Beach, while the top decks were made on the sound stages of the Disney Studios in Burbank. The majestic ship, like many of Walt's big projects, went over budget, but Walt personally paid to finish the 150-ton vessel. The two halves were assembled on the rivers of America in Fowler's Point, with the addition of woodworking details provided by the Disneyland Mill, once located where the Opera House and Great Moments with Mr. Lincoln stand today. So in a way, the Mark Twain did appear at Disneyland, across the seas of time. And when you step aboard the riverboat, you step into history, standing in the footsteps of those who have come before. All manner of people have found themselves aboard for a trip around the river over the years. Once upon a time, the Mark Twain held Dixieland Jazz Nights, featuring such musical icons as Louis Satchmo Armstrong and the Firehouse 5+2. Today, everyone with big names and no names make their way to the river to see the sights, explore the shore side, wave at the train, and be transported. But if you really want to experience the Mark Twain, if you really want to experience it as Walt might have experienced it, to step in his shoes and to see what he saw, ask the captain of the ship for a ride in the wheelhouse. It is a privilege granted to only a small group per journey, and sometimes not at all. But at Disneyland, magic happens. tiny daybed, some memorable pictures on the walls, a little sink and mirror. This is the wheelhouse. And just like the apartment on Main Street, this was another hideaway for Walt. Many hours were spent here, just like all the other spots in Disneyland that he cherished. Thinking up new concepts, new ways of telling his stories, to build in his magic kingdom. As you look out the windows, you're standing in the same spot that Walt did, so many times, riding around the river, seeing through his eyes. The park that he loved so much. However you experience it, the Mark Twain transports you. Away from Anaheim, away from Disneyland, away from the world, into what was once, into what could be, into yesterday, tomorrow, and fantasy. And that is the magic of the park.